Welcome to the show, everyone. We hope everyone is staying safe. We hope everyone is staying strong. We hope everyone is staying supreme by educating each other, by really listening to each other, by allowing dialogue, and also not just talking about stuff, but trying to figure out things we can do so we can create more positive change for the new normal. But during these uncertain times, we know that there are some questions out there. This is COVID-19 Part 2 FAQ, and we have someone in the studio with us today. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Aaron Michael Fonseca.
So because we are doing social distancing, we don't have too many folks in our studio, but I want to thank one of our youngest prospective college-bound students, and he has a question for everybody.
What is the SAT and the ACT?
Thank you for that question, Aaron Michael. So for a lot of you guys know that these are examinations that have been established many decades, like last century, to kind of do some assessment on one's ability, focusing mainly on math, reading comprehension, grammar, and also looking at problem-solving skills. And over the years, they have been developed and designed where not only high school students across the U.S., but across the globe to take these exams as early as their junior year to the beginning of their senior year to show their abilities. Now, do you have another question there, Aaron Michael?
Why do the colleges under them?
You mean use them? Use them like the SAT, ACT? Great question. So all across the nation, there's about over 1,000 colleges for that offer bachelor's degrees that have students apply to their campuses, and they need to know, are you a good fit for their campus where you make them better and stronger? Since there's so many different varieties of high schools, like charter, public, private, homeschooling, many colleges out there have decided that beyond many other variables, grades, letter recommendations, personal statements, types of courses, activities, portfolios, you name it, they wanted a standard way of measuring everyone and comparing everyone from their classmates to the overall school's performance, their profile, to even students across the nation and their applicant pool. Now, is there another question that you have there, Aaron Michael? I think you have one last one before I go into deep stuff.
How do kids take the test with the
With the coronavirus right now?
Coronavirus?
Yeah, which is
19.
19, which is 19, right? 19. Yeah, so also known as COVID-19. Great question. So though these tests have been happening through the centuries, through last century and this one, this has been a time where we have, in this century, a pandemic, and meaning that there's a lot of issues that are happening in our world that's impacting students where, as you know, students have been taking classes virtually, and also even with the AP exam, right, the advanced placement test, students had to take them online. And when we last spoke, we kind of talked to you guys that the SAT and ACT made an announcement that they were thinking about taking the test online. And there has been a lot of changes since the last time we spoke regarding about that. Across the nation, colleges have decided, what are we going to do with this situation? And the hard part is that there are a lot of different answers to that question. And so before I begin, I'm just going to get some word of advice. Pretty much everything I've told you guys through the years, the advice is still the same, except one area. And this is just my personal opinion. And when I give an opinion, a professional opinion, it's also with some flexibility, meaning take care of yourself first. That's always number one. Because if you can't take care of yourself, how are you going to make a difference in our community? So just know that with everything that I mentioned to you guys. So basically, I really recommend for students to try to do as much work as they can right now to kind of finalize their college list. Why? Because like I said before, there's so many different answers to, well, how am I going to deal with this SAT, ACT testing? And when registration came out for the fall, I've heard a lot of students, I can't take the test. I don't have anyone locally. Will we be able to? My school doesn't even know if we're going to be able to do social distancing or not. Lots of valid questions, a lot of stressful moments. So if you're able to finalize your list, and that means when I say finalize, you can always add some more later. But if you could finalize your list, then you could check each of the systems to see what they can do. So we're going to target not all, because that would be maybe a 5-hour show, but highlight some significant ones. And as always check what's in black and white from the source of information, meaning the colleges themselves. Number 2, don't hesitate to ask someone from your college counselor, or also the college reps throughout the summer are available to help you. They want to hear from you. So if you're struggling like, well, I can't visit the school, it's not the same. I know, but this is about getting ready and being flexible for a new normal, right? So colleges have done that. There's virtual opportunities, virtual interviews, virtual tours. I mean, there's so many more professors and students willing to talk to you than ever before. I can't keep up. So follow our Twitter page, because we will give you updates of future wide tours, but each campus is doing something online. Okay, no more, I was going to say no more talking, but that doesn't make any sense. Let's get into what's been happening. So early on, before COVID-19, I want to let you guys know that there have been things called test optional, meaning that there have been colleges for many years doing test optional, because a lot of families out there are being told, oh, you have to take the test. You have to. It's the biggest factor. No, I don't think so. So let me give you my professional opinion, what I've been telling all my wonderful students out there. There are so many issues right now that the class of 21 are juggling. Like test administration has not made it any easier for anyone worldwide. The impact is felt, and your student is not alone. Therefore, since April, hundreds of colleges have turned to test optional admissions. Test optional college admissions has been around since 1984. Just check out the website, FAIR, F-A-I-R, test.org. And highly selective colleges like Cornell University, yes, an Ivy League school, and the UC system have turned to this solution for the class of 2021. We are aware there are a few campuses and even states like Colorado that are still requiring some sort of test administration. Keep in mind that's for the public schools. I mean, Colorado State University, University of Colorado, Colorado Springs. Those are public, so it's required. But if there's a private school, let's see, University of Denver, which is test optional, great campus. They can be test optional. And we'll talk about how to deal with those schools that the state's mandated. However, the majority of these campuses have expressed. So Colorado, Lehigh, many of them have expressed that if there's an impaction for fall test administration, they will relook at their policy and advise students to communicate with them about their situation. Meaning, if you can't get a test administration, let's just say you're trying to apply early decision to Lehigh University, and it's like you can't get a test before October, email your representative from Lehigh and explain to them what they can do. Some colleges may take it later. Some may give you some other options, but you got to communicate. That's the fundamentals of any good relationship. None of the campus want a test administration to be a roadblock to a student's progress as a future applicant. High school counselors across the nation have expressed their concerns on the additional strain these circumstances are putting on students nationwide, which prompted the CEO of the College Board to send out a news release to colleges across the globe to asking them to be more flexible during the pandemic. We'll talk about the 3 that he's recommending in a little bit. We are advising our students to look at their college lists and check if any campus is still requiring either the SAT or ACT examination. Thus, remember, the earlier you have a college list, the earlier you can figure this out. If so, we're urging students to contact admissions office to inform them about their circumstances. In addition, we stress to our students that the focus has never or should be the test. Look at any website. It's not the first requirement is the test. It's often grades and the type of courses you take. Colleges and universities historically have looked at many variables at the application process, like classwork, your progress, personal statements, your school profile, letter recommendations, and so much more, like your activities. And sometimes those colleges will have some campus-specific questions. St. Ignatius students have many gifts, and we are guiding them as expressed in many ways. And you should check out your school how they're taking care of that and how you can honor yourself regarding about your contributions, your growth, and achievements. That is so important. While students are considering new variables in their college process, they need to understand they are not alone, and colleges are aware of this global issue. In the meantime, if test registration is still a priority for a student, they can decide to look at a later exam date and check if the prospective campus or campuses will still require that exam, especially if they're thinking about doing any type of early admissions, right? So that could be early action, priority application. Also, if you're thinking about scholarships too, check if there can be any flexibility. If your scholarships, often these are merit scholarships from each of the campuses, will still require a test. So even though the UC campus is test optional, that doesn't mean the scholarship is also test optional as well. So just make sure that you definitely look in and check in on all the examination. So what did the CEO email everybody? Well, as I get to the CEO news release that he sent to all the colleges, one thing that is important to know, ACT on their Twitter page talked about the importance of honoring students for their abilities and all their efforts. But keep in mind, aren't your grades in your classes showing that? Don't you think that colleges will kind of maybe look at your fall grades even more? And if you're worried, if you pass or fail in the spring semester, many colleges across the nation have expressed that they will not penalize you. A college can't penalize you if your school said that everyone had to go in that direction. So while the College Board has indicated that they will be offering more tests like every month, August, September, October, November, December, impacted and very densely populated areas are being hit very hard because of the social distancing requirements based on COVID-19. So the College Board asked colleges to provide flexibility like accepting late test scores as much as possible by extending score deadlines to take off the pressure off for students. They also communicated to equally consider students for admission who are unable to take the test due to COVID-19 compared to other ones who have. So, for example, the UCs are putting all their readers through an intense training how to not give any bias to the students on the application. What CSUs, the California State University, one of the largest public school systems in the U.S., what they decided, they're going test blind, meaning you can't submit a test score. So they won't look at it. So they're going to look at other variables that we'll get into in a minute. And then the last thing they mentioned was that they want to recognize students who do not submit scores may not be able to take the test more than once. So meaning maybe I talked to this one student. They took it, PSAT test one time. They took the SAT test one time. They're like, oh my God, my scores have been improving every single time. I want to take it one more time, but oh man, but I can't take it again, or I can't find a spot. Now, this was released on June 2nd, 2020. And the reason why I'm